Most of the questions this time are associated with ferrets, so we're just going to nut down to a couple of questions and have a talk about ferret nutrition. And that's because Kayla Connolly has asked a couple of questions. She's wondering, what are 3 considerations when establishing nutrition for ferrets? Well, ferrets are wonderful pets because they're active at the right time of day for people who work. So unlike many of our daytime, our diurnal animals, who are just dozing off to sleep when we get home from work, ferrets just getting into their activities in the evening, and they're great to have around, but they have very specific nutritional requirements. They are, as I've mentioned before, obligate carnivores. They must eat prey. They have no capacity, like dogs do, to eat any vegetable matter. In the wild, they're a domesticated form of the European polecat, and in the wild, cat eats predominantly birds, catches birds, but also some small vertebrates, mammals and lizards, and eats all of them. So a couple of the important characteristics of diets for ferrets is that they're much higher in protein than the diets for dogs and adult cats. Now, kitten diets are adequate in terms of protein, they just qualify. But there are some specialist ferret diets, and they are very, very high in protein, often exceeding 30% of high quality, very digestible meat sourced protein. The other thing that ferrets require is a relatively high percentage of fat, and so the commercial ferret foods will contain more than 15% fat, which is a typical thing for animals that do not have a long digestive system, and ferrets will only take less than an hour from the time they eat something to the time they deposit it as stool. They require a relatively high energy source to process the proteins, so they need a decent amount of fat. High carbohydrate diets, treats and whatnot, predispose ferrets to pancreatic disease, and we're really, really keen for them not to have any trouble with their pancreas. In fact, one of the worst sorts of tumours old ferrets get, a tumour called an insulinoma, is a tumour of the pancreas, and it seems that it's much more likely in ferrets that have high carbohydrate, starchy, sugary foods. One of the other interesting things about ferret nutrition is that they become fixated on foods. During the first sort of between 6 and 12 weeks of life, they'll have a go at lots of different things, but whatever they're used to in that first 3 months of life, they'll often ignore everything else. So it's often a good thing to try them with many different foods, because if you just give them one food as a little kit, then they are highly likely to be in trouble if that food becomes unavailable. So another question that Kayla asks is, why do different species of animals have different nutritional requirements? Well, Kayla, that has to do with evolution. Different animals have evolved to live in different niches, and when they live in a particular ecological niche, there will be certain things that they can get access to and certain things they can't get access to. So the opportunities in their ecological niche determine the development of particular nutritional requirements in each species of animal. That was really boring, didactic, lectury sort of way to put it.